The desert planet Iona was hot and quiet. The air was dry, and the wind carried small grains of sand across the flat ground. The sky was pale orange, and 2 small moons could be seen even in daylight. Milo, a human trader, landed his ship near. An old supply station, ship, the Turn, was a small cargo hauler, scratched and rusty, but still flying. He needed to fix a loose fuel line and restock on water before heading to the next planet. As Milo stepped out in his light desert gear, he looked around. Iona was mostly empty. Only a few other ships were parked nearby. The station itself was half broken. Some traders came and went, not staying long. No one talked much. Milo walked toward the mechanic's shed to ask for a tool. But as he passed the scrapyard, he stopped. Something caught his eye at first. He thought it was just a pile of junk scrap metal, broken crates, old wires. Then, something moved. A hand, small, thin, not human. Milo walked closer. There, lying between a rusted container and a smashed robot, was a young alien girl. Her skin was a soft gray blue, and her eyes were large, with silver irises. Her legs looked weak. One arm shook as she tried to push herself up. She couldn't. Milo crouched beside her. "Hey," he said softly. "Can you hear me?" The girl blinked slowly. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Milo reached into his pack and pulled out a water flask. He held it to her mouth. She took a small sip, then another. He looked around. No one else was nearby. No one seemed to care. "Do you have a name?" he asked. After a few seconds, she whispered ... Sira. Milo sat down beside her. "I'm Milo. I'm human. Do you need help?" Her head moved just a little, maybe a nod. Milo looked at her legs. They didn't move. Her back was bent oddly. Clothes were dusty and torn. Beside her was a broken communicator and a nearly empty food pack. He stood up and walked into the station. Inside, he found an older alien man working behind the counter. Milo asked, "Do you know that girl in the scrapyard?" The man didn't even look up. "She was left here last cycle," he said. "Family took off without her." "Why?" Milo asked. The man shrugged. "Couldn't walk. Couldn't keep up. Valari don't keep weak ones." "She's a child," Milo said, his voice firm but calm. "Still a burden," the man replied. "No one here wants trouble." Milo didn't argue, just turned and left. Outside, he walked back to Sira. Her eyes were closed now, like she was ready to give up. "Not today," Milo said softly. He gently lifted her into his arms. She was light, like she hadn't eaten much in days. He carried her across the hot sand and back into his ship. Inside the Turn, he laid her down on a small cot in the cargo bay. He found a clean blanket, wrapped her in it, and started the heating unit. Then he checked the med kit for basic scans. Her body was weak, but she was alive. No infection, no fever, just damaged. Half her lower body was not working, maybe from birth, maybe from injury. Milo didn't know yet. He brought her a nutrient bar and some more water. She ate slowly, carefully. "You're safe now," he said. She looked at him with wide eyes. "Why help me?" she asked. Milo gave a small smile, because no one else did. The next morning, Sira was awake before Milo. She sat up with great effort, using her arms. She looked around the cargo bay. Everything was strange to her metal walls, blinking lights, storage crates. Milo walked in, holding a cup of hot tea. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Tired," she said, "but better." He nodded. "We'll be here for a day or two. I need to fix the ship. Then we go." Sira looked down. "You. Take me." Milo sat beside her. "Do you want to stay here? In the dust?" She quickly shook her head. "Then yes," he said. "Come with me." For a moment, she looked like she might cry. But she didn't. She just nodded slowly, holding onto the blanket. Milo got up. "We'll fix that back of yours someday. You'll walk again." She didn't say anything, but her eyes stayed on him. The whole time he worked. That night, as the ship rested under the stars of Iona, Milo sat at the control panel, typing notes into his log. "Found young Valari girl. Abandoned. Semi-paralyzed, weak, but strong spirit. Taking her with me? No plan yet, but maybe that's the start of something good. He looked back into the cargo bay, where Sira slept soundly under the blanket. Sometimes, the galaxy was cold. Sometimes people looked away from things that made them uncomfortable. But Milo didn't look away. He saw a child who needed help. And now, for the first time in a long while, he felt like he had a purpose again. Sira sat near the window of the ship, watching the stars move slowly. She wore a clean shirt now, too big for her small frame. A soft blanket covered her legs. They still did not move. The ship, Turn, floated quietly in space. Milo had finished repairs and left the desert planet behind. They were traveling toward the next station. A small human colony called DREAMY. Milo was in the front, working at the console. He kept glancing back at her. "You hungry?" he asked. Sira nodded. He brought her a warm food pack and placed it on the tray beside her. She slowly took bites, eating carefully like she was afraid it might be taken away. "You can eat as much as you want," Milo said kindly. "No one's going to stop you." She looked up at him. "Thank you." Milo sat down across from her. "Can I ask you something?" Sira nodded again. "Why did they leave you?" Sira looked down at her hands. She didn't speak for a while. Then, in a quiet voice, she said, "I was born different. My spine soft. Doesn't grow like others. Doctor said maybe it could be fixed, but family said it cost too much. Couldn't run or train, so they left me." Milo's heart felt heavy. He tried not to show it. "They said I would. Slow them down," she added. He stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "Well, I don't mind slowing down." Sira looked at him. Her eyes were wide, surprised. "No one else will help me," she said. Milo gave a small smile. "That's okay. I will." Later that day, Milo showed her around the ship. He had moved things to make space for her. He built a soft seat with safety straps and gave her access to a small screen with books and pictures. She liked the pictures. Of Earth, forests, oceans, birds. She had never seen such places. "Do you miss your home?" she asked him. Milo nodded. "Sometimes, but now, this ship is home." Sira looked around. "I think it's my home too now." At night, Milo opened his old files on xenobiology. Years ago, he had studied alien biology before becoming a trader. He was not a doctor, but he still knew things. He searched for data on the Valericera species. They were fast runners, strong climbers, and had perfect balance. Their bodies were made for movement. That was why weakness was feared in their society. But Sira was smart. Her mind was clear. She could learn fast, think deeply. Milo saw it every time she asked a question or watched him fix the ship. "She's not broken," he whispered to himself. "She's different. That's all." On Dreafor, Milo stopped for supplies. He left Sira resting in the ship and asked the local trader for tools. As he picked up a light metal frame, the trader, a friendly older woman, asked, "Building something?" Milo nodded. "A mobility frame." "For someone who can't walk well," the woman raised her eyebrows. "That for the Valari girl?" "People are talking. They say you brought her from Iona." "I did," Milo said. "She's lucky you found her." The woman said, "Most wouldn't bother." Milo smiled slightly. "I don't think it's luck. I think it's what we're supposed to do." Back on the ship, he began building a simple walker something with handles, soft padding, and balance. Support. Sira watched from her seat. "What's that?" she asked. "Your legs don't work well, but your arms do," Milo explained. "This will help you stand. Maybe take a few steps. We'll try together." Sira stared at it. "You made that for me?" "Of course," Milo said. She looked down. "I've never walked before. Not really." Milo knelt beside her. "Then let's try it. Slowly, no rush." The next morning, he helped her into the frame. Her arms shook as she held the bars. He stood beside her the whole time. "Okay," he said gently. One little push, she moved one foot forward. It barely touched the floor. Then the other. Then she stumbled and Milo caught her, but she laughed. It was a small, soft laugh, but the first he had heard from her. I moved. She said, smiling. You did, Milo said, grinning. And tomorrow, you'll move more. For the next few days, Milo worked on the frame while Sierra practiced using it. Sometimes she fell. Sometimes she got frustrated. But each day, she stood. A little longer. He also gave her simple tasks on the ship. She helped organize tools. She pressed buttons on command. She even fixed a small screen using just her fingers and a few wires. You learn fast, Milo said. I watch, Sierra said. I remember things. Milo saw something special in her. She wasn't just trying to walk, she was learning to live. And she was doing it with strength, even if her legs were weak. One evening, Sierra sat near the window again, watching the stars. Milo? She said, Yes. Will I ever run like the others? Milo thought for a moment. I don't know. Maybe not. She looked down. But I do know something else, he said. You can do things others can't. You see the world in a different way. That matters more than running. Sierra looked at him. You really think so? I do, Milo said, and I believe in you. She smiled again, a real smile, warm and strong. That night, Milo made a new log entry. Sierra can now take 6 steps. With help, built walker from spare parts. She's learning fast. She's not a passenger anymore. She's becoming crew. He looked through the small window at the stars. Then back at the sleeping girl. No one else will help her, he whispered. But I will. And that promise, deep in the quiet of space, was stronger than any star. The ship turned, floated through the dark silence of space. Inside, Sierra stood carefully in her walker, using both hands to hold the bars. She looked at her reflection in the metal wall. Her legs still didn't move much, but her arms were stronger now. She could take 10 steps without falling. Milo watched from the control panel. He didn't say anything. He knew that Sierra liked to try things on her own first. After a few more steps, she turned to him and smiled. I didn't fall, she said. Proudly, Milo smiled back. I saw, you're getting better every day. She rolled back to her chair, sat down and took a sip of water. Will I ever walk without this frame? Milo paused. Maybe not right away, but maybe with help. With what kind of help? He leaned forward. A new kind of frame, a better one. Something built just for you. That night, after Sierra went to sleep, Milo opened his old files again. He'd once trained as a student of xenobiotech, the study of alien biology and machines working together. He had never finished the program, but he remembered the basics. He looked at medical designs, nerve enhancers, spine stabilizers, support suits. Most of them were too expensive, too advanced, or needed hospital-level equipment. But Milo had something else: time, experience, and a stubborn heart. He pulled out a small data tablet and started drawing. A simple support frame. It would connect to her upper back and legs. It wouldn't fix her body completely, but it might help her move more freely. It might give her hope. He whispered to himself, if it's broken, I can fix it. The next stop was a space station called Juno Ring. It was floating near a mining belt and full of traders, engineers, and scrappers.
Hello.
Docked the ship and helped Sierra into a small chair with wheels. As they moved through the hall, some people looked at them. Not many humans traveled with a Valari child, especially one in a wheelchair. Do they think I'm strange? Sierra asked. Milo shook his head. They just don't understand yet. He led her into a parts market, full of blinking lights and buzzing machines. He spoke with a short man who sold scrap tech. I need flexible spine rods. Soft link wires and pressure nodes, Milo said. For a repair job? The man asked. For a walking frame, Milo replied. The man scratched his head. That's not easy work. Most people don't bother. I'm not most people, Milo said. Sierra watched from the side. She saw how Milo talked to each trader with care. He didn't shout or push. He just explained what he needed and why. By the end of the day, he had a small box filled with parts. Now, he said, smiling at Sierra, we build. Back on the ship, the cargo bay turned into a mini-lab. Milo laid the parts on a long table and showed them to Sierra one by one. This is the support rod. It will hold your back steady. This wire connects to pressure pads and responds to your movement, and this part will rest behind your neck to give balance. Sierra listened carefully, asking questions and touching the tools. "Can I help?" she asked. Milo nodded. "Of course, this is yours." For the next few days, they worked together. Milo soldered wires and shaped metal rods. Sierra tested switches, held lights, and even fixed a broken circuit Milo had missed. "You have good eyes," he said. She smiled. "I watch. I learn." After a week, the new walking frame was ready. It was light, strong, and soft around the edges. Milo helped her put it on. Small pads rested on her shoulders and hips. When she pressed a button, the rods adjusted to her. "Shape, ready?" Milo asked. Sierra nodded. She stood. The suit moved with her. No shaking. No falling. She took one step, then another, then 5 more. Her eyes were wide. "I'm walking." "You're walking," Milo said with pride. She didn't run. She didn't dance. She walked. Freely, carefully, with strength. Later that night, Sierra sat on the floor of the cargo bay drawing on a screen. She had drawn a picture of the turn herself, and Milo standing side by side, holding tools and smiling. "This is us," she said. "Crew." Milo sat beside her. "That's right. You're not a passenger anymore." She looked at her frame. "You made this for me." "You helped," he reminded her. Sierra thought for a moment. "Milo, why do humans fix things?" He looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "Other species leave broken things behind. They don't want to deal with them, but you fix me. You fix your ship. Even your old jacket has patches." Milo laughed softly. "I guess it's just what we do. Humans don't like giving up on things. If something's broken, we try to fix it or make it better." Sierra looked down. "I was broken." Milo shook his head. "You were never broken. You were just left behind." "At night," Milo wrote in his log again. "Sierra can walk short distances now with the new frame. She helped build it. Sharp mind, strong will. She asks deep questions, I think. Maybe this was what I was meant to do. Not trading, not moving boxes, but helping someone find their strength." He paused. "Humans fix things. Maybe that's not a weakness. Maybe that's our gift." He looked back into the bay. Sierra had fallen asleep. Curled up in her blanket, her walking frame rested beside her like a friend. Milo turned off the light and whispered, "Good work, kid." The stars outside the ship blinked like tiny lights in the darkness. Princess Neera stood by the window, her eyes fixed on the endless sky. The E3 Empire was behind her. For the first time in her life, she felt unsure of where she belonged. Inside her, the child was growing faster than normal. The scans showed strong energy patterns, shifting cells, and signs of early development. This was no ordinary baby. It was half human and half E3. Something new. Something powerful. Neera touched her stomach gently. "You're not even born, and you're already changing everything." Behind her, the lab door opened with a soft sound. Rello, her loyal assistant, stepped inside. "They've sent a signal from the capital," he said quietly. "Empress is calling you back. She wants to meet ... in person." Neera didn't move. "She knows, she suspects," Rello said. "And Viller has been watching your activity closely. The ship's tracking logs aren't safe anymore." Neera turned to face him. "Then it's time." Rello's eyes widened. "Time for what?" "Time to leave," Neera said firmly. "I need to disappear. I need to protect this child. If I stay, they'll take everything from me." Rello nodded. "I'll help you prepare. But if we're going to leave, ... we'll need help." Neera already had someone in mind. Down in the observation room, Tom was sitting in front of the big window. He watched stars move slowly across the sky. His jacket was old, and his hair was a bit messy, but his mind was sharp. He had been thinking hard, these last few days. He turned when Nira entered. "Hey," he said with a small smile. "You look serious. I need to talk to you," she said. Tom stood. "Is it the baby?" She nodded. "It's growing fast. Too fast. We can't stay here anymore. The Empire will find out soon, and when they do, they'll come for us." Tom didn't ask questions. He didn't panic, just nodded. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I'm going to run," she said. "I know a route through. A quiet star system. There's an old neutral station called Hollow Reach. They don't follow E3 law. It might be safe." Tom looked thoughtful. "Okay, what do you need me to do?" Nira looked surprised. "You're not afraid?" Shrugged. "Of course I'm afraid, but fear doesn't help anyone. We get out, we hide, we protect the baby. Simple." A smile touched her lips. "You're always calm." Tom gave a small laugh. "I'm a mechanic. If I freak out every time something breaks, nothing gets fixed." Nira looked at him, her voice softer now. "I don't know why this happened. The cloning process wasn't supposed to do this, but now you're part of this story, you and the child." Tom stepped closer, and let's write the rest of it together. That night, the plan began. Rello brought blueprints of the ship and pointed at a smaller pod hidden inside the lower decks. "It's old, but fast, made for stealth missions. It has a cloaking shield and long-range fuel cells." "Perfect," Nira said. "We'll leave during the next system scan window. All ships go silent for 6 minutes. Enough time to slip?" Away, Tom helped gather supplies, food packs, tools, medical kits. He checked the pod's engine, fixed the cooling system, and even found a hidden tracker, which he quickly removed. "No offense," he said to Rello, "but I don't trust Royal Tech." "Smart," Rello replied. The final piece was security. Nira needed to leave without raising alarms. "I'll give a fake signal to the bridge," Rello said. "It will look like you're in your chamber for the night. By the time they notice you're gone, you'll be far away." Nira stepped forward. "You're risking everything, Rello. Your job. Maybe your life." Rello didn't flinch. "You're carrying something special. I don't know what it means yet, but I know it matters. Go. I'll take care of things here." The next evening, the ship lights dimmed for the system scan. It was time. Nira wore a dark travel suit. Her hair was tied back. Tom carried the supplies. They moved quickly through the lower halls, keeping close to the shadows. When they reached the escape pod, Nira paused. She looked back once, then stepped inside. Tom followed and sealed the door. The engine hummed softly as he powered it up. "Coordinates set," he said. "Hollow Reach. Here we come." Nira sat in the co-pilot seat. She looked at Tom. "Are you sure about this?" "There's no going back." Tom nodded. "I was lost on Earth. This feels like a mission worth doing." The pod launched silently. As it slipped away from the giant ship, the stars seemed to grow brighter. They were free. Several hours later, the pod moved through empty space. Nira finally allowed herself to rest. She leaned her head back, eyes closed. The silence was peaceful. But the peace didn't last long. A soft alarm beeped. Tom checked the screen. Incoming signal. E3 patrol, maybe. Nira sat up quickly. "Can they see us?" "No, but they're near. We'll need to be careful." They turned off all lights and let the pod drift through a small asteroid field, hiding their trail. Inside the quiet pod, Nira whispered, "This child is already hunted, and they haven't even taken their first breath." Tom looked at her gently. "They're not alone." She smiled. "No, they're not." Far away, back on the royal ship, Vilar stood in front of an empty chamber. "Where is she?" he asked sharply. One of the guards looked nervous. "Gone, sir?" "Ask ChatGPT." The lights inside the Valerian ship were soft and quiet. The halls felt colder than before. Mira sat alone in her quarters, staring at the small screen in front of her. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap, but her mind was not calm. Since the council meeting, she had not spoken to anyone. No messages, no answers. No return to Earth. She was not in prison, but she was not free either. She looked at the small corner of her table. where she had hidden a tiny object, a paper star made from the wrapper of a honey packet Tom had once given her. She had folded it while sitting in his kitchen, watching Lena laugh. It was nothing special, yet it now meant everything. Mira reached for her recording device. Day, ... unknown. Communication with Earth has been cut. Contact with Tom and his family has been blocked. I am under quiet watch. I am not punished directly, but I am ... separated. Valari believes I am no longer objective, that I am emotionally changed. She paused. Her voice dropped. They're correct. She stood up and walked to the small round window. The stars looked close, but Earth was far behind them now. Mira whispered, "Why does distance feel heavier than gravity?" Just then, a soft chime rang from her door. She turned, unsure of what to expect. It slid open, and a familiar face entered. Dr. Sen, one of the science advisors on the ship, stepped in. His face was kind, older, with quiet eyes. "I asked for permission to speak with you," he said. They allowed it. Mira nodded slowly. "You may enter." He stepped closer and sat across from her. "You've been quiet," was told. "To observe silence." "They hoped silence would bring back your old thinking," Sen said gently. "But silence has only made you stronger, hasn't it?" Mira looked at him, surprised. He smiled. "I was young once too, Mira. I also visited other planets. I also felt things that science could not explain." She lowered her gaze. "Then, why did you return? Why did you stay quiet?" Sen sighed. "Because I was afraid. Afraid of change. Afraid to stand alone." Mira nodded. She understood that feeling now. Sen leaned forward. "But I see something in you. Something I wish I had kept alive in myself. Curiosity, ... and courage." Mira's voice was soft. "They call it contamination." He smiled gently. "I call it transformation." She looked at him again. "Do you think it's wrong? To feel warmth from another's kindness? To miss someone when they're gone? To want to belong, not to a system, but to someone's life?" Sen shook his head. "I think that's very human. Maybe it's something we Valerians forgot long ago." Mira hesitated. "I don't want to lose who I've become." "Then don't," he said. That night, Mira walked to the data chamber. It was late. The lights were dim. Only a few technicians moved quietly around. She stood before a tall screen and placed her hand on the glass. The system recognized her. "Accessing Human Interaction Archive," she said softly. Rows of images appeared, photos, videos, sounds from Earth. She scrolled through them. A child hugging their parent, a couple laughing in the rain, an old man feeding birds in the park, a family around a dinner table, a boy giving a flower to a visitor in a robe, and then her, a picture. From a town news file, Mira and Tom walking near the library. Tom was smiling, holding a carved bird in his hand. Mira was beside him, watching him not with cold study, but with gentle attention. She touched the image. A small tear rolled down her cheek. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "I miss that feeling." Behind her, someone cleared their throat. It was Sen again. He held a small data chip. "This is from my old mission files," he said. "Places beyond Valari's reach. Settlements where rules are less strict." He handed her the chip. "If you truly want to understand what you've become, you'll need freedom to do it." Mira took the chip slowly. "Why help me?" "Because I believe you're right," he said. "And because no one helped me when I needed it." She nodded. "Thank you." Placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Be careful, but don't be afraid." That same night, Mira stood by the escape bay. She wore a simple travel suit, no symbols, no rank. Just herself. She placed the wooden bird Tom's gift safely in her bag. She looked around one last time. The ship behind her had given her birth, training, knowledge, but it had not given her understanding that had come from Earth. She activated the pod quietly. System IMD. Destination, Earth Rural Zone, Willow Bend. As the pod launched, Mira sat back and closed her eyes. She didn't know what would happen next. For the first time, she felt ready to find out. Down on Earth. In Willowbin, Tom stood in his small backyard. The wind moved gently through the trees. He still came out every night, just in case. Tonight he saw a light in the sky, small, fast. Glowing, his heart jumped. He ran toward the field. As the pod landed, a soft door opened, and Mira stepped out. Tom stared for a second, not believing his eyes. Mira? She nodded. I came back. He stepped closer. How? Long story, she said softly, but I had to come. I need to learn more. Not from data, but from life. Tom smiled and offered his hand. This time, Mira didn't just shake it. She held it firm and warm, like home. The twin sons of Doran Reach rose slowly over the dusty city. The air was warm and filled with the sound of ships flying above. People from many species walked through the markets, trading goods, fixing machines, or simply watching the skies. In a small room above an old repair shop, Nira stood by the window, her hand resting on her growing belly. The child inside her kicked gently. She closed her eyes, smiling softly. Each day the baby became stronger, but peace would not last forever. Behind her, Tom was fixing a broken cum device on the table. He had learned much since arriving on Doran. Reach how to speak with aliens, how to repair star engines, how to live in a world full of danger. But one thing hadn't changed. He was still protecting his family. Suddenly, a small screen on the wall lit up with a red warning. Incoming transmission. Unknown source. Scrambled signal. Tom and Nira rushed to the screen. Tom tapped a few buttons, trying to clear the noise. Finally, a blurry face appeared. It was Raylo, their old ally from the E3 ship. Princess Raylo said, his voice shaking, they found you. A scout ship left the capital 2 days ago. It's on its way to Doran Reach. Nira's eyes narrowed. Who's leading it? Vialor Relo answered. He's not coming to talk. He's coming to take the child. Tom stepped forward.
Ow.
Long do we have? Not more than 2 days, Relo replied. Maybe less. I tried to slow their ship, but I can't do more. I'm sorry. Nira nodded. Thank you, Relo. You've done enough. The screen went dark. Tom turned to Nira. We can leave now. I'll get the pod ready. But Nira shook her head. No, Tom. We've been running long enough. He stared at her. You want to fight the Empire? I want to protect our child. She said, and that means standing our ground. They knew they couldn't do it alone. That afternoon, Nira and Tom walked through the busy market, speaking to the people they had met over the last few months. Mechanics, traders, former soldiers, and even old rebels. Many of them had reasons to dislike the E3 Empire. At first, some were unsure. Why risk their lives? But when Nira explained everything, how the Empire wanted to take her child, how they believed in bloodlines and control, people began to listen. A short alien named Mock, who ran a weapons booth, stood up and said, We came to Doran Reach to live free. If we don't stand now, we may lose that freedom forever. Others joined in. By evening, they had a plan. That night, under the open sky, Tom stood on top of the old hangar, looking at the stars. The air was cool. He heard soft footsteps behind him. Nira joined him, wearing a dark cloak. They're coming fast, she said. Tom nodded. Are you scared? She thought for a moment. Yes, but not for myself. For the child. He looked at her, then at the sky. I used to fix engines and drink bad coffee. Now I'm helping prepare a city for battle. She smiled. You've become more than just a mechanic, Tom. He looked into her eyes. And you've become more than a princess. They stood there in silence, feeling the wind and the weight of what was coming. The next morning, the alarm rang across Doran Reach. The Empire had arrived. A sleek E3 warship hovered above the city. It was silent, but its power was clear. Everyone could feel the pressure in the air. Then a voice echoed through speakers across the area. It was cold and sharp. This is Commander Viller of the E3 Empire. Surrender Princess Nira and the child. You have until sunset. Nira stood in the town square, surrounded by her new allies. Her eyes burned with anger. "They think they can frighten us," she said. Tom looked at her. "Let's show them they're wrong." He spent the day preparing. Old defense turrets were fixed. Shields were placed around the rooftops. Civilians were moved underground. Small ships were hidden in nearby caves to be used in emergency, escape or surprise attacks. Nira took her place near the command post. Though she was tired, and the baby was close to coming, she stood tall. She had never led a battle before, but now she had no choice. As the sun began to set, Veeler's ship lowered, and silver-armored soldiers stepped out. The battle began, Blaster. Fire lit up the streets. Smoke rose into the air. But the people of Doran Reach fought back with heart and clever moves. Tom led a small group of fighters through the back alleys, setting traps and breaking the enemy's equipment. He moved fast, using everything he had learned. On the rooftop, Mach fired turret blasts that hit the Empire's landing pads. One ship exploded in the sky, sending sparks like stars falling. Inside the command center, Nira gave clear orders. Out! As the battle grew louder, she felt a sharp pain in her side. She gasped and held her belly. It was time. The child was coming. Tom returned, his face dirty, his arm scraped. When he saw Nira in pain, he ran to her. "She's coming," Nira whispered. Without wasting a second, Tom lifted her and carried her to the safe room below the hangar. Mach and another healer followed. While the city fought above, a different kind of battle began. Below, Nea cried out, sweat on her face. Tom held her hand tightly. "You can do this," he said. "You're stronger than all of them." Hours passed. The sounds of blasters faded. The sky above began to calm. Then at last a new sound filled the room. A baby's cry. Nira looked down, tears in her eyes. The child was healthy, her skin soft, with eyes that seemed older than her hours. Tom laughed softly, overcome with emotion. "She's perfect." Nira smiled weakly. Mars sighed. The E3 soldiers began to retreat. Their leader Velar had been captured by the people of Doran Reach. His ship, damaged and powerless, rose into the sky and left quietly. They had won, not with an army, but with unity, love, and the will to protect something precious. Later, as night fell, Tom and Nira sat together in their small room, holding their daughter. Her name was Alara. "She has your eyes," Tom whispered. "And your heart," Nira replied. They looked at the stars through the window. The Empire would still exist, but something new had begun. Something stronger. Something born of two worlds. The city of Doran Reach woke to a calm sunrise. For the first time in many weeks, the sky above was clear, no warships, no smoke. Just soft clouds and peace. People were fixing broken homes, cleaning up the streets, and sharing stories of the battle. There was laughter again. A new spirit filled the air, not of fear, but of freedom, inside a quiet room above the hangar. Nira sat near a window, her baby resting gently in her arms. Alara was only 2 days old, but her presence had already changed everything. She rarely cried. She simply looked around the world with big, curious eyes. Tom entered the room, holding a bowl of warm soup. His arm was still wrapped in bandages, but he walked with a calm smile. "You should eat," he said. "Now you need your strength." Nira smiled, tired but happy. "Oh, you've become a good caretaker. I've had a good teacher," he said, sitting beside her. They watched Alara sleep for a moment, the tiny rise and fall of her chest like music to them both. Tom gently touched Nira's hand. "I never imagined this, not even in my wildest dreams." Nira looked at him. "Do you regret it?" He shook his head, not for a second. Later that day, the town leaders and allies gathered near the old command post. Nira walked in slowly, holding Alara close. The room fell silent when she entered. People stood with respect. A merchant named Tovi stood and spoke. "We've rebuilt cities before, but this was different. We didn't fight for land or gold. We fought for a child," another voice added. "A child who belongs to both. Stars and soil. Two worlds." Nira stood tall. I thank you all, not only for protecting me and Tom, but for defending something greater. My people, the Aethery, believed only in order. They feared change. But you proved that life is strongest when it grows freely. Tovi nodded. So what now, princess? Nira smiled gently. No more titles. I am not a princess here. I am a mother, a friend, and a learner. I wish to stay, to help rebuild, and to share what I've learned. The room filled with quiet agreement. In that moment, the people of Doran Reach accepted her not as a visitor, but as one of their own. Weeks passed. The city changed. New homes were built, gardens planted, and music returned to the streets. Alara became a symbol of unity. Everyone wanted to see her, to hold her for a moment, to tell her stories. Tom opened a small workshop again. This time it wasn't just for fixing broken machines. He also taught others, kids and adults alike, how to build, how to repair, how to imagine. Nira worked with others to create a new learning center. She shared knowledge from her planet, science and healing methods, and also listened closely to the old stories of Doran Reach. She even started writing a journal to worlds. One heart. But even in peace, the stars whispered, one night. While Tom and Nira sat outside watching the sky, a small drone landed beside them. It carried a message, a peaceful one. It was from Rello. News has spread. The Empire cannot hide what happened. Many now speak your name, Nira. Some call you a traitor, but others, they call you a sign of hope. Things are changing. Or whispers of reform, of talks. The child has opened more than Ayashi has opened doors. Nira read the message twice. She looked at Alara, who sat on a blanket nearby, reaching for the stars. What will we tell her when she's older? Tom asked. Dotnair smiled. The truth, that she was born from something stronger than power. She was born from understanding, from choice. One morning, a small shuttle landed quietly outside the city. People gathered, unsure if it was danger or peace. From the ship, a single Aethery stepped out. It was Sen, Nira's old mentor. His eyes were tired but kind. I came to see with my own eyes, he said. Nira hugged him, surprising him. He met Alara and held her gently. She has your calm, he said. Tom chuckled. And my appetite. Sen spent days listening, learning, and helping. Before he left, he said, others will follow me. Maybe not today, but soon. One voice can begin an echo. In time, Doran Reach became a symbol, not just of survival, but of unity. Travelers came from many planets to see the city where a human and an alien found something rare, love without borders. Tom and Nira never claimed to be heroes. They were just two people who chose to protect what mattered. And Alara, she grew up. With stories from both worlds, she learned how to build from her father and how to think deeply from her mother. But most of all, she learned how to feel, how to care, how to listen, and how to believe in new things. One day, she would return to the stars, not as a weapon, not as a ruler, but as a bridge. Final line in a universe full of war and silence. The sound of a child's laughter shared by two hearts from different worlds. It came the loudest message of all humanity had not just survived, it had connected.